Hello, Abnormal Investigations. As you all know, we have been back boots on the ground, and we are now planning on doing a lot more boots on the ground. Our new date and time is going to be Saturday nights. We are working on that right now, and it looks like it may be Saturday nights at 8:30 is going to be the time we're going to start going live. We got, the time change and everything, and we want to make sure it's dark when we go live. So around 8:30 on Saturday nights, and now we're talking about doing Thursday nights, and I will just read an encounter to you guys, and we will go over it, and you all can let me know what you think. It won't be a complete breakdown. It'll just be me reading an encounter, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. Kind of a short little live, guys, on Wednesday nights before our big show on Saturdays. Saturdays will either be our big breakdown or it'll be our boots on the ground. Wednesdays, we're not sure yet what we're going to do with it, but right now it's going to be a short story, and we could do breakdowns on it. We're not sure, but you're going to get a lot more time with this. I hope you all enjoy that. And with you all watching these videos and hitting the like button, it helps us do the boots on the ground because it keeps the algorithm up, which helps the channel. So I'm going to ask everybody to share us out. Hit that like button, guys. It makes such a big difference, and it helps us do a lot more boots on the ground. I've lived in Washington for over a decade, right next to a national forest. It's usually quiet and peaceful with only occasional worries about deer getting into my garden or coyotes sniffing around my property. However, if you've heard my previous story, you know I've seen things in those woods that I still can't explain. That night changed how I looked at this place. Although I haven't seen it in my house again, I don't think it's done with me. This incident occurred in the late spring after the last frost had passed, and the forest was coming alive again. The early rains had given way to the warm, damp afternoons, making it the perfect time for morel mushroom hunting. I set out with my usual gear, a canvas bag, a walking stick, and a good knife. I also carried a sidearm, which I didn't always do, but after what I saw that night, I felt more comfortable being armed. The place I was headed to was about 2 miles in. It was deep enough that fewer people ever ventured there. The hike was uneventful, with the forest alive with bird song and the occasional rustle of small animals darting through the underbrush. After the first hour, I had good luck finding morels. But then something felt off. The birds had gone silent, and the background hum of insects had faded. It was as if somebody had turned the switch off in the woods. I stood there for a moment listening. At first, I heard nothing but the breeze through the trees. Then I picked up my stick and continued to walk. And then I started hearing a rhythmic, almost like a breath of inhales and exhales. It was close, close enough for me to hear it clearly. I turned slowly, scanning the tree line. Nothing, just dense forest stretching in every direction. It's that moment when you realize how alone you truly are. I told myself it was my imagination, but as I took a step forward, the breathing stopped abruptly. That's when I noticed the footprints. They were larger, deeper, and fresher than my own. Something had been following me, a chill in the air. I didn't want to panic, but my instincts were screaming at me to leave. I started walking back the way I came, trying to keep my pace steady. Running wouldn't do me any good. Whatever was out there had the advantage in these woods. As I rounded a bend in the trail, I heard a branch snap. Not just a small twig, but something heavy and big. I stopped, my heart hammering in my chest. Then I caught a glimpse of movement in my peripheral vision. Something dark shifting between the trees. It was big, bigger than any person should be. I swallowed hard, my fingers tightening around the grip of my sidearm. I didn't want to draw it unless I had to, but I wasn't about to take any chances. The figure moved again, stepping behind a thicker cluster of trees, just far enough that I couldn't get a clear look. I could feel my pulse in my ears, my throat suddenly dry. Then it made a sound, a low guttural clicking noise, followed by deep, resonant exhale. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but it wasn't human. It wasn't an animal I'd ever heard of before either. I took a slow step backwards, then another. The figure didn't move, didn't make another sound. It was just watching. I knew if I turned my back on it, I'd regret it, so I kept my eyes on that spot, moving as carefully as I could. Then just as suddenly as it had come, it went. The figure shifted again, blending into the trees, and in a blink it was gone. It didn't stick around long, and I didn't stick around long either to find out where it went. I moved as fast as I could without outright running, keeping my ears trained to the forest behind me. By the time I reached the edge of the property, the sounds had faded, but that feeling, the one of being watched, it never really left. That night, as I sat on my porch staring out at the darkened tree line, I couldn't shake the thought that whatever was out there, it knew me now, and I had the sinking feeling that it wouldn't be the last time that I would ever see it. Over the next few days, I found more unsettling evidence near the edge of the woods. A tree had been stripped of its bark, and then there was this smell, a thick, musky odor that hung in the air, clinging to everything. It was like wet fur mixed with decaying leaves, pungent and unfamiliar, the kind of scent that sent a warning through every instinct I had. I didn't go into the woods for a long time after that. Some nights I'd hear movement just outside my property line, branches snapping, something heavy shifting through the brush, always far enough that I couldn't justify grabbing my rifle, but close enough that I knew I wasn't imagining it. One night I heard a deep call, a resonant almost like a howl, but not quite. It started low, rising something eerily close to language. It really made my heart flutter. Then, before I could process what I had heard, another call responded. This one further off in the distance. There was more than one. Whatever I had seen, whatever had followed me, I wasn't dealing with just one. And whatever they are, they seem to have some sort of interest in me. I stopped going into the woods altogether for a long time. Days turned into weeks, then months eventually. The sounds at night lessened, and I let myself believe that maybe they had moved on. Maybe they had lost interest in me. Then, one morning, I stepped outside to find something laying on my porch. It was a single morel mushroom placed directly in front of the door. It was fresh, perfectly intact, with a wildflower tied around it. I stared at it for a long time. I don't know what this means. Are they friendly, just curious, maybe trying to help me for some reason? Or is this supposed to be a threat, like they know what I was doing in the forest and they don't want me doing it? I honestly don't know. I used to love spending time in the forest now, but I don't anymore. I would love your opinion, Mike, and I love your show. I wouldn't call them your friend. As you know, I believe they come from the fallen. I think some of them may possibly do good, but no matter the good they do, it was said that they would never be forgiven. Forgiven. So, was it a threat left on your porch? I don't know that it was a threat. Maybe it was something just to tell you that they knew why you were out there, and maybe they had got all the mushrooms already, or they was telling you to leave them alone, that they know what you're looking for, or I don't know. Maybe they was gifting you, trying to get a relationship with you to get your trust so they could deceive you later. I believe at some point on any of these things, I don't believe you're ever off of the menu. So that would be my advice. Guys, I just want to thank each and every one of you for the support that you all are giving us. It means a lot to us. It really does. And if you don't mind, again, share this out. Let's try to get a lot more views on these videos. Let's really push this channel, and we can do a lot bigger things as far as boots on the ground. We'll be able to travel. That's one of my goals, is to get out and travel. And as we do better and the page progresses, I'll explain more of that to y'all too. So, big plans, guys. Thank you for watching. Keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. And we'll see you on the next one.